Hi there, my name's Vince from mymatevince.com, and in this video today it is the very last Xbox One controller, and I am sad to see this box empty. Not because I want to do more and more Xbox One controllers, that's not the case at all. Purely because it's been so interesting to see what each fault's been, because the sellers kind of put a load of junk together, which has made for more interesting videos, because they really are very challenging. Well, challenging to someone like myself anyway. So it's not just a case of, for example, the B button doesn't work and it just needs a little bit of clean with IPA. They really have been all very, very involved, which, when you get, although it's a nightmare trying to fault find them, when you do eventually get to the bottom of it, there's a real sense of achievement. And yeah, hopefully, I think looking at the views anyway, they've definitely made for more interesting videos. So this is the very last one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some batteries in it and see again what's wrong with it. Yet again, it says the void sticker here, so these have already been fixed, sent out to customers, and then gone faulty again. So this is not the kind of very first time they have been repaired. They've definitely been refurbished in the past, because that sticker there is not the Microsoft sticker. So let me find out what's wrong with it, and then I'll get back to the video. Well, okay, just gone through a quick little test. Now, with the batteries out and the wire connected, it does work, but the buzz doesn't work. So I'm hitting buzz now, and it should be vibrating, but it's not. But as far as the actual buttons and everything's concerned, it all appears to be alright. So I mean, it's being recognised, and I've gone through the analog sticks, and all the buttons and the triggers and stuff all appear to be working. But watch this. When I do it wirelessly, it cuts out again straight away, and I do like these ones where it doesn't have power. So watch this now. Turn on and off again straight away. So obviously wirelessly it's not going to work. So I've had the problem with the buzz not working. Trying to think, did I solve that problem? No, I don't think I did I? I think that was one problem that I didn't solve. But I've definitely had power issues before, and I fixed that in one of these earlier videos. So let's take this apart and see. First of all, let's swap the boards around to find out which boards are faulty. It might be both boards, and then we can then start to, if it's just, for example, one board, we can concentrate on that one board and see if we can see any differences on it. Right, it looks like it's been glued shut here. There's a load of glue gun in here. Right, okay, look what I found here. Look at that. You see the middle connector here has been completely ripped off. So, yeah, I mean, that's going to be a nightmare to fix, if it's even fixable. So it's going to need all those repairs tracing, because if you have a look, it's not that it's been unsoldered, it's actually been ripped off, because you can see all the pads are left on here. I think with this one I might swap over the front plate rather than getting involved in a huge massive repair. I'll see. Let me first of all find out if there's any other problems. There might be problems on the back plate as well. Okay, so that's it there. You can see all the pads are missing. We've still got a few up top. It's going to take quite a bit of work to get that back. I don't know how that got ripped off so bad, because I mean they do actually come off quite easy. Right, first I'm just going to check the vibration of it, and then we'll put batteries in and see what happens then. No, so it's still not vibrating. So it looks like that issue is not with the front board, unless the front board I put in is faulty, which is possible. Pop some batteries in it. Right, okay, well it looks like wirelessly it's going to work now. So let's just double check that, and we'll try the vibration wirelessly as well. Yeah, that's synced up. There we go, now you can see wirelessly the buzz is working. So that's 2 controllers I've had now where it works wirelessly, but the wired doesn't. I mean, I would like to get to the bottom of that. There was comments in one of the videos that I'll have to look back on. I think it was the U1 chip, I think. It's interesting though, isn't it, that it works wirelessly but not wired. Well, I'm just going to run through a few other features just to see if it is working. Right, okay, yeah, that's all working. So basically my decision is now whether to look closely at this and see if it is repairable or not, or whether just to swap it over, for example, with the board I've got there. Now again, because it's obviously in real life you would just swap it over if you had a spare board, because economically this isn't really repairable because it's going to take so long. But again, for the purpose of the video, it would be quite nice to actually get this particular one working. So I might try and do that, because the fact that it's not working wired with the vibration isn't a problem, because really, how often do you have this working as a wired controller? And I'm pretty sure when I actually connected this to my Xbox on one of the videos, then it did work when it was in the wired. It seems to be more on the PC that it's not working. So I think let's get ourselves set up. Let's look really closely at this and see if it is possible to actually repair this or not. I've got to make sure I put it on the right way round as well, because if you have a look, there's just a tiny little right angled bit, a beveled bit at the top here. Not a right angle bit, sorry, a 45-degree bit here. So I have to make sure that goes on the correct way. In fact, if you look at it there, you can see on the board that the outline shows that there's an angled bit. So without really doing anything, we know it's going to be working that way, like that. Right, let me get myself set up. Right, just before we get ourselves set up, this is interesting. What I did is, normally I used a new interface, but I've gone to the old one, and all I did was I entered into the testing, where you know you can do different things using the old interface, and now watch this. If I exit it and now press buzz, we are using a wired connection here. Let's take the batteries out, and now watch. It's working. So the buzz is working. Let me just try the impulse triggers. Yeah, I can feel that. In fact, you can see it, look. You can see the little impulse triggers spinning around there. That's how they work. And that one up here. Okay, so that is working wired and wirelessly. So all we have to do, I say all, but all we have to do is try to fix up this thing here. So let's try and do that. Right, I'm ready to start. I've got my soldering iron set to 370 degrees Celsius. I've got a nice small fine tip on it. I've got my TV set up here so I can see what's going on, and I'm going to zoom in a minute. What I'm going to be using is this enamelled wire. So it's copper wire which has enamel on it, so it's not going to short against wires that are close to it. This is 0.1 millimeters in diameter, so everything is absolutely tiny. And to begin with, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put flux on this here, and I'm going to clean off the pads, because you can see that most of them have the pads remaining on here. And then I am going to solder on this back onto it using, I've got 3 pads here at the top, so I'm hoping by using these 3 pads it might give it enough strength to you know, stick onto it. What I can do is, if I'm successful, I can then put glue gun. Can I put glue gun around this? Let's have a look on here, see if it's see what the other part looks like. Yeah, the other part goes inside. So I can put glue gun around the edge here, and then this is the female part, and the male side of the other board will go into here, so it shouldn't foul it. And then bit by bit I'm going to be running it to all the other traces. So if you have a look here, you can see I've got the remains of a trace here, and I've got a remain here and here. I'm actually going to cut them back because I'm worried that because they're kind of flapping around now, that what could happen is they could short against the other pins on here. So I'm going to cut them back, and then I will be just running jumpers to wherever's convenient. So it might be just further along the trace. I'm going to use the fiberglass pen to rub the mask off it here, the solder silk screen, I think it's called a silk screen, to get to the copper on the inside. But other ones I might find it easier just to run to, for example, a resistor or a capacitor. Wherever the trace goes to, I'm going to follow it and then just connect up to the easiest point available. And we'll see what it looks like. It might be a complete disaster or it might be okay. I'm just going to be fast forwarding through the soldering because realistically now this will probably take me at least 1 hour, maybe longer. So it's going to take quite a long time. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to cut off the old traces, so I need to take this off again. Right, okay, now it looks safe to solder on because you can see I've cut away the old one here so it can't go anywhere, and I've cut away these ones here so they can't go anywhere. I'm going to leave this one because I might be able to just drag that over. You never know, that might go over with a bit of solder and stick on. Okay, amazingly, I think that went well. I haven't tested it properly with the continuity tester yet. I've just kind of done it a couple of times when I was going along, but I need to test it all at the end. Let me just take you through it now and then I will test it afterwards. So basically, this one goes from here to this last pin. This second one goes to this little one here. This one goes around to that one there. I was lucky to be able to get a connection there. This one just straight down to here. This one goes all the way around up to the trace that's going up in this direction, and then the one next to it goes to the next one, so I had to bend those around because these were the ones that went underneath here and across. I suppose they could have been done beforehand actually. Might have been easier to do those ones before. Certainly look a lot neater because then you wouldn't have these horrible wires everywhere if these were done beforehand. This one here goes to this trace here, that one to that ground there. This one was perfect already, this one to there, this one was perfect, this one to there, this one to there, and that one was perfect. And I mean, they all, I'm not going to start wiggling with the tweezers because they're 0.1 millimeters, so we're talking probably something around the size of a human hair. I don't know actually how big a human hair is, but it's very small. But with most of them, I kind of wiggled them to break the wire. So if it was a bad solder joint, then I would have expected the wire just to come off the solder joint rather than the wire to break. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a continuity between the pins here and the various other bits on the board. So I suppose I can zoom out for this bit. There we go, that will probably make more sense there. Right, so this one's here is going to be a ground, and so's the one here. Okay, so that's fine. This one here goes to, I can't see where it goes now. Let me use this board here and I can just skip through these bits. The second one goes up to this component here. Yeah, and again, it's not going to come up anywhere else. Third one along goes to here, and the fourth one will be here, the next one. There, here, here. So the whole top row is testing okay. So let's do the bottom now. So that one was earth, we already did that one. This one goes off to, these go all the way up to the resistors up here. So this one should be that second one. It is, and it's not short into the third. The third one's the next resistor. There we go. This is this fire down here. Yep. This one here is the awkward one right the way around here, so that's going to go off to the other side of the board. One goes off to this fire here, and this one goes all the way off to this pad here. So they are all testing okay for continuity. So what I'm going to do now is, remember when I put this together there's a very good chance of this breaking. So I am going to put some, I think I'm going to put some UV mask around it first of all, and then I will have to put a little bit of glue either side just to try to keep it down. So let's do the UV mask first. Right, that's the UV mask I'm using. It's just, again, cheap stuff I got from eBay. You can get it all different colours. So I got green just because most boards are green, but you can get like blue and red and other colours as well. So now to set it, you need to use UV lights. So I'm using my little kind of plastic weld pen with the UV light on it. Right, okay, that is the UV mask done now, and if you have a look, it actually looks an okay job. I'm happy with how that's gone. To make it look a lot nicer now, it would have been better to put those wires on the inside, and then it would kind of look perfect. But remember, nobody's going to see this anyway, so as long as it works, it doesn't actually matter. But that's good, and that's the good thing about using this enamelled wire, is because it doesn't matter that there's a loop round here, because it's insulated anyway. So even if that was to touch, for example, that pad there, or one of the resistors over here, it doesn't matter because it's insulated. It's only the end bits that have been burnt off when doing the soldering. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put glue gun around it. Unfortunately, this is where it's going to look disgusting. The reason I can put glue gun on is because the other parts are male, so it fits into here. So this is the wider part. So the other board has the male socket on it. Well, I suppose it'd be the plug, wouldn't it? This is the female socket, the other one's the male plug. So I'm going to go around the edge now, which is going to look horrible, but hopefully it will give it a little bit more strength. But If this was ever taken apart again in the future and the person wasn't aware that this was fixed, there's a very good chance this is going to come straight off, even with the glue gun on it. Okay, so now it's just going to be a case of putting it all back together. I'm just going to give that glue gun a few minutes to go off fully. And I think what I'm going to do is, rather than having to deal with gluing this bit on here, I'm going to just replace this back one here, because I've already got spare ones of these in my box of spares. So I'm just going to replace this, and I don't have to worry about putting glue gun on there. Okay, that's all thoroughly clean now, so like normal, it kind of comes up perfect when you give it a clean. So let's put it back together. Right, okay, that's that front board on now. Let's see if this is going to clip into place. I've got to be really careful now. Excellent, good. Slightly worried about whether it would line up perfectly or not, but it has done. Brilliant. Right, let's put the rest back together. And I just had to take it apart there to free this wire here, and luckily it didn't, it just came apart normal, so maybe if it's taken apart again in the future it will be okay. Annoyingly, all the buttons have gone shifted around. It must have been when I pushed it in and back out again. So I have to take this apart again, which is not ideal, because obviously the more I mess with that connector, the more chance it is it's not going to work. So this is the second time now having to pull that connector out. Oh, silly error, that's the problem. I forgot to put this in. Right, okay, let's pop the batteries in, see if it turns on. Yes, it does. Excellent. Right, so I am going to take the chance, put everything back together properly, and then test it out on a little laptop, and then we can bring it down on the Xbox and give it the final test. Hold down the sync button. Yeah, that's connected up. Analog stick looks fine, and it looks like the original one as well, because it's going all the way, but when it gets to 100%. Yeah, that's perfect. That's good. Triggers. Yeah. That's fine. Bumpers. D-pad, click in, click in. That's all fine. There we go, and the Xbox button works. Right, let's check for vibrate. Yep. So that's working. Right, so now let's check for wired connection. Right, and again buzz is working. Let's go to the new. Yeah, that's fine. And let's bring it down to the Xbox and make sure it's working on there. Right, okay, so let's connect it up. Let's do a wired connection to begin with, because I just want to see if the rumble is going to work. So USB in there. Yeah, okay, so it's connected up. Right, let's just double check the rumble. Right, here we go. So this is on a wired connection. Yeah, there we go. So the buzz is definitely working. It's strange how it doesn't seem to like that little laptop. Right, okay, now let's do a wireless connection. Let's see if it syncs up. There we go, yeah, it syncs up again, and let's just double check the buzz again. Fantastic! So it appears to be working just fine. So that is it. That's another controller that's working. So I think out of 6 of them, I've got 5 controllers that are working, but remember, I ruined my own controller. So basically, I've got 5 controllers working out of 7. So out of this box of 6, I've actually got 4 working, which is not too bad. Now, I've gained in confidence loads doing these. I found them all very challenging, but I really enjoyed it. I think if I could sort of click my fingers and get exactly the same box of 6 again, I think maybe on that second one where I couldn't find the fault, I might have a better luck finding it now. Unfortunately, I've messed around with the components so much between the boards, between using my controller and the second one. I don't really know what's what, and you know, I put them sort of 2 together to make the first one work and stuff. Remember the one with the blue lights? But yeah, I think that was a really successful series. And now if I was to do Xbox controllers again, only really this first generation one, those other Bluetooth ones, I only actually did 1 of them. But when it comes to these first ones, I do feel very confident. So it just shows you, although it was challenging, the very fact it was challenging made me learn. And I'm not saying I'd be able to fix all Xbox controllers, but I'd certainly feel more confident now trying to fix them than I did before I started my first one. So the very fact that they were hard made it much more interesting and actually made me learn more. If all of them just had faults with the analog sticks, or for example a sticky button where it was just dirty, then although they would be easy fixes, I'm not going to learn anything from that. So I think, you know, you can take that forward and use that in life. Sometimes it's not nice going out of your comfort zone trying to learn something new or do something new, but then the more you do it, that comfort zone, out of your comfort zone, becomes in your comfort zone, and then you're more than comfortable doing it, and then you can push yourself a little bit further again. So I really enjoyed this one. I hope you lot enjoyed watching these as much as I enjoyed doing them. I do still have a box of kind of broken bits and bobs of Xbox controllers, so I might try to see, maybe not recent, not soon, but maybe in like 6 months or so, I might try to kind of put together 1 or 2 more controllers out of that box, because I've got a few boards up there and some of them are going to, well, they are going to be faulty, but I don't really know what the faults are. But by putting them together, I will then find out what the fault is, and again, they might also make interesting fixes, so I might well do that. So maybe you haven't seen the end of Xbox controllers on this channel. So hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe for more Trying to Fix videos. Take care. Bye now.